Hello, welcome back to NouTalks podcast. This is your host, New. And if you're watching this on YouTube, hi, this is my first solo episode recorded on video and is online on YouTube. If you're listening, welcome back. Right now it's 9 p.m. on Saturday. And instead of going out to a party or going to see friends or I don't know what people do on Saturday nights anymore. I'm here recording an episode. So, yeah, I guess this is my life now. Welcome. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Welcome to my living room. If you're watching this, it feels like you're sitting with me. It feels intimate, And I don't know how to feel about that yet. I'll let you guys know after a few episodes. To be honest, I was not sure what the first solo episode is going to be about. Me back on the pod. I was not sure after a year what kind of topics I want to talk about in solo episodes. But then again, I decided that I'll just hit play and think about a topic I've overthought lately or something that's been happening. Wait, I need to hydrate. I don't know if it's illegal to drink coffee at 9:30. Oh, it's not 9:30 anymore. It's 9:40. But we cannot do the pod without coffee, right? Nothing beats a cup of coffee. I don't care what you say. So this morning, I woke up quite late for my usual Saturday, and I've been scrolling on TikTok for an hour. An hour. I'm not complaining. I love TikTok. It's one of my favorite platforms to waste my time in, and no complaints here. But what happened this time around is after 1 hour on TikTok, I just realized that I felt like shit afterwards. Not because I spent an hour on TikTok, but all the content that I've been getting lately and I've been watching, something that is recurrent is these weird titles and these weird videos that I'm pretty sure you've seen before that go from here are 15 ways to invest your money in your 20s. Stop wasting your life. 5 billionaire habits to adopt now. I don't know how I made 50K in one day. Why you should invest in AI now. And I can go on forever because I know them by heart. And I've spent, I think, hours looking at social media, and it's full of these super aggressive titles about this urgent, how can I say that? Like this urgent messaging about doing things now, succeeding now, changing your life now. Because if you're not doing what they're telling you should be doing, then you're failing. You're not living life as you should. And the truth is, every single time I scroll, I just get so much messaging like that, like this grind, this hustle. And at some point, and like this morning, it does affect you. You know what I mean? This morning specifically, I woke up and I was like, wait, am I failing at life? Am I not doing what I should be doing? Are all my habits trash? Why didn't I buy land in 1996 instead of napping 10 times a day? Please listen, don't get me wrong. I am a pro hustler. I am a hustle girly. And if you know me or you've been listening to my podcast or following me on social media, you know I'm a big hustle girly. I'm doing it all. I'm all about that hustle culture, the grind, the success, the girl bossing. Please sign me up any day. However, coming from a girly who's always grinding and doing more than she should be doing, I get tired a lot of times, especially when I'm on social media. I am questioning my success because of social media very frequently. And it got me thinking if you feel the same, or if I'm the only person who feels a bit sometimes kind of like trapped into this urgency to succeed because other people are doing it and other people are succeeding right now. And if I'm not doing all the things they're telling me to do right now, then it's not enough. Then I'm failing. And to be honest with you, it just doesn't sit right with me. So The type of content that I'm talking about can vary on the platforms, right? It can be any of your favorite influencers, hitting new milestones every single week. It can be launching their own startup or their own business or brand, to being invited to like a million brand trips, or staying at 2,000 euros a night resorts every summer, and you're just there, not sure if you're going to a next vacation, and you're not sure whether ordering groceries or going down to grab them on your own is actually going to help you save money to invest in crypto. All these videos, by the way, I just remembered, that tell you that your coffee or morning coffee is actually what's making you broke. I mean, personally, I really struggle with this concept. Let me tell you this personal story because it hits close to home. I, as a coffee enthusiast and addict, I have one of the little pleasures of my morning routine before going to the office is going to get coffee takeaway from some of my favorite coffee shops in my neighborhood or next to my office. I'll just go that morning before anything, before I start my day, before I see my coworkers. I have this like calm self-care moment because it's like my me time. Usually it's 5.5 euros for a flat white almond milk. That's my coffee order. And yeah, and then I'll leave there happy and I'll sip my first coffee of the day, and it just makes the gloomy Paris mornings better. Okay. And then I'll go and I get into the office with the better mood. Like, it makes going to the office enjoyable because I have something to look forward to that morning. And then after I do that, I go through this very joyful, very peaceful, very important time of my day. I'll go on social media, and then someone from the other side of the world would be screaming at me and telling me that my morning coffee that I take every day that makes me happy is what is stopping me from becoming a millionaire. Yeah, I don't think so. No. I don't I don't want to believe it. It does make me feel like shit. I'm not going to lie to you. I do consider myself someone who is proof to other people giving me advice I don't want. I don't know if that makes sense. I do love to hear advice, but I'm really good at filtering advice. But sometimes there's just one tiny day where it does get in my head, and I'll think about it and it will ruin my day and ruin my mood. And a lot of times, like this morning, being on social media really did fuck with my brain. I don't know if we can curse on here. Hmm. I mean, it's my channel. I guess, yeah, this is the moment where we established that this podcast is curse friendly. Moving on, as I was saying. So, the urgent success messaging that I'm talking about on social media does come in different forms and states and moments and times. And I wanted to take it a step further, or on the contrary, I want to make it a little bit more up close and personal for my MENA people, for my Middle Eastern, North African gang and community. Because this is also something that's cultural. It's the success pressure. It's not only a social media thing, but it's also something that we obviously feel from our families and from society as Arabs in general. Because, yeah, need I say more? We, of course, have in our culture a certain pressure and urgency to succeed in whatever it is we're doing as soon as possible and as a priority as well. And that could be anything really. That could be this pressure to succeed in your school, the pressure to succeed in your job or get a job or get a promotion, or most importantly, what's next, right? Once you get a job and get a promotion, then it's not enough. It's not success enough. And that for me is where it goes wrong. You can go through the most selective, the most prestigious education. You can succeed at that. You can graduate top of your class. You can get the most incredible job. You can start your business. You can become actually rich and successful according to some standards, but clearly not in this household. Because in our MENA household, that is not enough. The next messaging that comes out in our society and culture that I experience, and I know a lot of my friends experience, is your classic family gathering and classic aunt, mother, maybe father. Actually, I never really thought that, but some of my friends' fathers do pressure them to get married. So, yeah, fathers, mothers, aunts, uncles, grandparents, the messaging that you all know and you can recite with me in this podcast. I open quote, when will you get married? Close quote, open another quote. When will you have kids? Close quote, open another quote. When are you going to have a second kid? Close quote. And that goes on forever until you have a team of kids. And even then, we'll find you something else to urge you about because that is the sad reality of our culture and society. Listen, I know a lot of you will or might comment on this podcast and say that their parents are so cool and they don't really care about these things. Good for you. You're the lucky ones. Not everyone has parents who don't care about the classic urgency to do the next thing, get married or get a job. Great, amazing. You've broken the cycle. However, and I can fight you on this, I'm pretty sure that this is the reality of like more than 90% of young adults and adults in the MENA region because it is part of the culture and part of, I guess, the upbringing and the society. And we can get into this topic more deeply and analyze it on some other episode because I know it's such an important one. But I just wanted to highlight on this episode how the urgent messaging and pressure to success can come from different forms. Whether, yes, for sure, social media is today the topic, but I think that maybe coming from also the society that urges you to succeed in certain type of things kind of is similar. And it just reminded me of that. It reminded me that yes, social media does urge me to succeed, but in MENA, it does translate also in society. So it can be a pressure that you can get online and offline. And it's not easy and it's really hard. And even though you try to block things out, no matter, like, I feel like no matter how much I try sometimes to be like the bigger person or just like not listen to whatever people are saying and trying to be like the generation that breaks the cycle or breaks, you know, the expectations and have a different definition of success, because that's what it is, right? At the end of the day is we're all trying to define what success is for us. But the thing is, and it's a bit my case, I guess, or my theory is, by trying to break from this family and society, I guess, definition of what success is through marriage and having kids and buying a house and then your car, and then by trying to break from this definition of success and wanting to create our own version and our own meaning of success, we trying to do that by finding other role models and other paths or versions of success. And social media is a place to find those role models, right? People spend most of their time on social media, and those are real people who are supposed to be relatable and who are relatable in some sort of sense. It's just that I was thinking about it so much, and I did realize that. I realized that by trying to break from our cultural definition of success, we went to find other role models online. And sometimes I feel like, yeah, sometimes we do find people who inspire us and who are incredible, and they're doing great things, and they're sharing their stories, and they're extremely relatable. But I think because there's so much content out there online and so many people online, sometimes I think we get lost in the insane amount and quantity of messaging. And it does get aggressive and overwhelming. And it might, and a lot of times it's the case, it will have the complete opposite effect that you went to look for. Yeah. So, anyway, let me take a little sip of my coffee. After the amount of caffeine I drank today, I don't think I'm going to be able to sleep, and that's your fault. So, I just want you to remember that. But it's okay. I think it's worth it. I'll just scroll on TikTok if I don't sleep. Anyway, what I want to kind of wrap up, I think, this episode with is that I did have this a similar or lived a similar experience with social media and this urgency of success and these different versions of successful people who are, try to sell me or tell me that I'm not doing anything right now, and that I'm not succeeding right now, and that I'm failing, and that I should be doing it a certain way, and I should be doing it now. I did live that before, a long time ago actually. I was still a student, I was still in high school. And one of my favorite content creators, I remember at the time, was Gary V. And I'm pretty sure you all know him. He's a very, very successful entrepreneur. And back in the day, I don't remember which year it was, he was at the summum of fame, and he was so known. At the time, I think he had like a YouTube channel, and there was no TikTok at the time. It was just on Instagram and YouTube. If you don't know who Gary Vee is, very quickly, it's weird that you don't. You're probably born after the year 2000, but that's okay. You're still welcome here. So Gary Vee is an entrepreneur, and just to tell you really quickly, his persona, he is someone so energetic and so dynamic and passionate, extremely passionate about what he does. And he pretty much, talks about the hustle culture. He's one of the founding fathers of the hustle culture, if I may say. And he has a podcast and has this YouTube channel where he, does like speeches, and he goes and hosts people and talk to them about their entrepreneur life and solves their problems and does consulting. He has a media agency. He also invests in sports clubs and does a million things a day. And one of his key, I guess, personality traits, it's his passion, right? And the hustle. And he's, I feel like his unique selling proposition on social media at the time was the fact that he was so passionate, and he was such a hustler and successful person. And he was willing to share his journey. He used to share everything about the mindset and how you should just go for it and you should stop um, procrastinating, and the no excuses type of content that by heart now, that there's so much more of now. But Gary Vee at the time was one of the first pioneers of the hustle culture online. I at 17, or I don't even remember what age I was at the time, 16 or 17, I was at the summum of my obsession with the hustle culture. And Gary Vee was one of my favorite content creators on YouTube. And I loved listening to him and watching him. And I know for a fact that a lot of my friends in high school also were Gary Vee fans. My sisters used to watch Gary Vee. And yeah, I was obsessed, right? And what happened is that I feel like after a few years of over consuming Gary Vee content, I think it was after I got in my senior year baccalaureate, which is senior graduation. Back at the time, I used to live in Morocco then, and I was top of my class. And I did hustle so much, and success for me at the time was that, right? That was my definition of success at the time. Then, like a few years later, I started my business, and then I went to business school, and I was still like a big, big fan of Gary Vee. But what happened to me at some point is that I was overwhelmed with the hustle culture. I think it was when I quit the startup, and then I moved to business school here in France, and then I've decided to take a break and not do anything. It was the first year of my life in I don't even know how long, in years, that I just stopped overdoing. I was just like, I'm not going to create another project. I will take a break. And one of the things that I stopped doing at the time is post on social media. I was still at school, but I did just that, just school, which felt really, really weird to me because I was not used to it. I would always have something going on, right? And so I stopped posting on social media, but I was still consuming social media. So obviously, my content, everything that I was following and watching was still the same. So Gary Vee was one of those content creators that I was still following. And every single time that I watched his YouTube videos or I've opened my social media, he would just be there, like screaming and like shouting things and posting content that you should be doing things now. And what is the expression? There's an expression. God, I forgot. There's an expression that says, life is. Yeah. I have a really bad memory for a podcaster. Life is slipping away from you, and you should be doing and hustling in your 20s. And I was extremely, extremely overwhelmed by his content at that point. And I felt guilty because I was taking a break from projects and from the startup and for leaving the startup. That's a story for another day. But I was really, really in a bad place. Not only was I feeling bad because I left, and it was was the first year that I moved to France, and I was away from my family and friends, and I was in this like very foreign new environment, and I was not I was not overworking. I felt like I was not achieving things, and I was just stagnating. And there he was, Gary Vee, motivating me to do things, right? And that's good. That's his content, and I love his content at the time. But that year, this specific year, I think I woke up one morning and I just unfollowed Gary Vee and his content, and I stopped watching YouTube videos, and I unfollowed every single person that made me feel like I was not doing enough and that they were succeeding and achieving so many amazing things and I wasn't. And those are content creators that I used to love before. It's just that that time and that year, it was not what I needed. So I curated my feed on social media differently. I stopped watching YouTube altogether, to be honest, at the time. And yeah, I just blocked out all those videos and content that was not for me, right? That were screaming at me with messaging, with hustle messaging. And instead, I just decided that from then and actually until now, I'm very mindful of the people that I follow and the content that I like and the channels that I subscribe to or podcasts that I listen to. I'm very mindful. I'm very careful about the messaging that I want to consume and be part of, because I think that now, in hindsight and looking back, I realized that that was the best decision that I've made, and that it taught me that I have power over those content creators and not the other way around. I have power over social media and not the other way around, because social media actually is whatever you want it to be. Whatever is on your feed is what you're feeding your mind and your soul and yourself and your mood. And I know that we forget that, and I feel like we're just sucked into so much content and so much information that we don't realize that we have the power to just unfollow people. We feel like we're missing out if we don't follow, or we don't see what the, I don't know, what the Jenners are doing, or the Kardashians are doing, or whoever you're following they're doing. Um it's okay though if you don't. There's nothing that's going to happen that's extremely important that you're not going to know about. And you will know eventually if it's important. And even though you miss out, yes, you will miss out on some things, but that's all right. And it took me so much time, even this year, actually, I still struggle with it. I did unfollow so many people, so many celebrities or influencers or content creator that have very either aggressive messaging, or that just makes me feel like I'm not doing enough right now, or that I'm so late to succeed, I'm so late to hustle, that, being in my late 20s, I should already have 3 houses, and, and go on 16 holidays a year, and have been married or have children, or I don't know what people are doing anymore. I think that this is something I really, really, really careful about now. I'm trying to kind of clean my feed. I'm not going to lie to you and say I don't follow people who are successful. Absolutely not. I follow people who inspire me instead of influence me in a negative way, or pressure me into success, or pressure me. Let me rephrase that. I don't follow people who pressure me into their definition of success, that, put out aggressive messaging that you should be successful in a certain way and you should do it now. Otherwise, you're failing at life. That pretty much sums it up. I still do, absolutely do follow so many people, content creators, influencers, entrepreneurs, that have a positive approach to what they post about. And they're mostly trying to inspire people and trying to show a better version of them, and trying to show, I don't know, how to, grow your business, or how to, they give you like nice tips about different things in life, whether it's work, career, family, relationship, health, fitness. I still do follow so many people that I adore and admire, and I absolutely love their content. But I'll also try to follow, subscribe, and watch things on social media that just fits into whatever I'm going through that year. If I'm in a year that I want to hustle, then I'll look for the hustle. If I'm looking for a self-care, more of an unwinding year, then I'll follow more things that make me feel more chill, and they don't make me feel guilty about doing whatever I want to do that year. If I'm taking a break, then I'll follow things that are not pressuring me into making six figures a year or whatever. If I want to have a corporate girly year, then I'll go follow the corporate girlies or the Pilates girlies if I'm into fitness this year. So I think that you should not forget to adapt and to curate your social media, your feed to you, because it is your account and nobody else's. And you give power to these people. These people are successful because of you and because of us, the audience. So you should make sure to keep that power and not give it to them, because you can follow, you can unsubscribe whenever. And I think that all content creators will find their audience and their audience will find them. But just don't forget that you are in charge. And I think that this is something that I remember today. And that's why I wanted to create this podcast, because I did feel really, really bad this morning. And I overthought my success metrics, and that, I'm taking too much time to post on social media, or taking too much time to grow my podcast, or not doing a million other things that come across my mind. This is just an example, like just the fact that I took a break for a year and I haven't posted on NouTalks podcast because of so many different reasons is also something that I always think about and I feel guilty about. I just wanted to finish up with a small reminder for you and me. Don't forget that social media is definitely, yes, it's a platform with a lot of real people and real relatable stories, and it's incredible. That's why we love it so much. But it also is curated, and there's a lot of fake content and romanticized content, glammed content, sugar coated content. So as much as success on there seems easy and possible, and feels like everybody is successful but us, it's not true. There's so much that goes into people's lives, and there's circumstances that we don't know about, and social media is just, the tip of the iceberg, and we have no idea what's going on people's lives. And so it is fair to say that I think we should all remember that everything happens at its own pace, and life happens at different paces for everyone, and we should just trust the process and trust ourselves. And there's no time limit, right, to success, and failure is part of it. Taking a step back and just hanging back for a minute is okay. That's what I tell myself. Look at me, I'm back on the podcast after 1 year. I've just been hanging back for 1 year, whilst all these, people launching podcasts, reaching milestones, and that's okay. I'm doing it on my own pace, and I think just because I'm doing it on my own pace doesn't mean I'm not going to succeed at it, right? So yeah. Now, of course, this is just my unprofessional opinion and advice. I would love to hear your thoughts on this topic. Do you also feel like you're failing at life sometimes, and that you're not doing enough because of the social media trap? Tell me what you've been doing to avoid that, if you have. And if you haven't, then what's stopping you? What are your thoughts? Tell me. I'd like to read them. You can leave comments on the YouTube channel after you've watched this, or you can also comment on Instagram. I'm always there, clearly. Thank you for joining me on the couch today, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.